So welcome to week 7 of marine biology. Right now we are working on the whiteboard, coming up with 6 threats to marine mammals. This was your homework from 2 weeks ago. So go ahead and come up with some threats of marine mammals, please. Even if you can't think of 6. The 2 that are up there are perfect. Ships, water pollution. Great job. Come up with a few more ideas. Okay, so let's look at what you guys came up with, and let's see if we can come up with any other ideas, maybe by talking through it. So right now, I am seeing oil spills. That is a definite threat to marine mammals. Loud noises, a definite threat. Water pollution, human activity. Ships sometimes scrape across them when they are swimming. Great job. Those are fantastic. A few other things that we could add up here is changes in water temperature. Either warmer or colder, either way, the change in the natural environment. This could have to do with predators and prey moving. It could also have to do with coral reefs dying and just other changes in the environment, the amount of salinity. All are threats to marine mammals. So great job. I wanted to remind you guys that I am up to date as of this morning with everything that you guys have submitted to me. If you go into Moodle, you can see what has been graded, what has not been graded. If you want to submit any of the missing assignments, please go ahead and do so. In order to get a certificate of completion for this class, you need to finish 60% of the classes, which means you need to come to at least 6 of the classes. Okay, so today we are going to switch away from marine mammals, and we are going to switch to sea turtles. While we are on our whiteboard, I would love for us to kind of think about sea turtles. What do we know about sea turtles? So I'm going to just put up here a rectangle. And I want everyone to in and write, what do you know about sea turtles? You could put the name of a sea turtle up here. Sea turtles live in the water. They never go on to land. There are some freshwater turtles that will do both. Sea turtles live in the water. They only come on land to breed. So let's put some things that we know about sea turtles up on our whiteboard. The two that I see up here are correct. Some sea turtles are huge. Not all sea turtles are huge. They cannot tuck their heads into their shell. Okay, go ahead and finish whichever one you're typing right now. And then we're going to go ahead and look at these. And then we are going to talk about sea turtles. So here we have, they can swim up to 20 miles per hour. Some types of sea turtles can swim very fast. They only come up on land to lay their eggs, too, if you put that, fantastic. And they can stay underwater. Wonderful job. You guys actually know quite a bit about sea turtles. So let's take a look at sea turtles. We're now looking at your PowerPoint screen. So there's three types of animals that look like sea turtles. There are sea turtles, terrapins, or tortoises. Two things that are different between these three types of turtles is you have to ask yourself, where does it live? Does it live in the ocean? Then you have a sea turtle. Does it live in the freshwater? Or does it live on land? If it lives in freshwater, it's a terrapin. If it lives on land, it's a tortoise. Can it retract its flippers and head into its shell? A sea turtle cannot. All of them lay their eggs on land, and all of them are reptiles. And this little picture down here is the symbol for an organization called Conserve the Sea Turtles, and they do a lot of conservation with sea turtles. This is a symbol that you will see often. We're going to skip over these land turtles, and we're going to talk about turtles. There are three things that you need to know about turtles. There is a carapace, which is its upper shell. Now, if you look at the little cartoon turtle that I have labeled up here, his carapace is his back. They have a plastron, which is their lower shell. A plastron is their belly. And they have scutes. Scutes are what makes up the plates that make up the shell. In picture B, you can see a good idea and a good image of the scutes. Down the middle, you see a row of scutes. Those are called the medial scutes, or the middle scutes. Around those, you have lateral scutes. There's a right lateral line and a left lateral line of scutes. And all around the outside of the turtle, you have the marginal scutes. Those are the scutes that go all the way around the edge of the turtle. Image B down here is showing the turtle's carapace. Image C is showing his plastron. Some characteristics of sea turtles. Now, these are characteristics of all sea turtles. We're going to look at specific sea turtles in a minute. A sea turtle cannot retract his flippers or his head into his shell. They're always sticking out. They have a salt gland behind their eyes that secrete salt or tears. Nesting females return to the beach where they hatch during the summer. And the sex of a turtle hatchling is determined by its temperature in the nest. The warmer the temperature, the more likely it is to be a female. Cooler temperatures, the eggs will hatch and become males. So let's look at some specific turtles. Go ahead and raise your hand if you have ever seen a sea turtle, either in an aquarium or in the wild. I have. Has anyone else ever seen one? Ooh, 3 of you have. Oh, all of you have. Perfect. Does anyone want to turn their mic on and tell us when and anything about the sea turtle that they saw? Go ahead and raise your hand if you'd like to. Actually, you'll have to unraise your hand first and then raise it again. Okay, does anyone want to share where they saw a sea turtle and anything about it? No one? All right, I'll go first. I've seen a couple of sea turtles. Let me think of which one I'll describe. I have a good one. When I was in Myrtle Beach with my family, I guess it was probably 3 years ago, we were swimming in the water and you could see something kind of bobbing off in the distance. And we watched it for a little and we realized that it was a sea turtle bobbing along in the ocean. It was pretty close to shore, maybe only 100 yards offshore, maybe the length of a football field. It was pretty cool. I've also seen plenty of sea turtles up close in aquariums. Does anyone want to share their sea turtle experience with us? No one? All right. Well, first we are going to talk about loggerhead turtles. These are very common along the east coast of the United States. Does anyone want to read about loggerhead turtles for me? You guys just love hearing my voice so much. All right. Well, loggerhead turtles are named for their large head. Their head, as they are swimming in the water, can appear to look like a log. An adult loggerhead sea turtle can weigh anywhere between 200 and 350 pounds, and their carapace, which remember is their back shell, is about 3 feet long. And then their head sticks out from the front of it and their tail sticks out from the back. A loggerhead sea turtle matures in 12 to 30 years. The adults stay pretty close to the shore, and they feed in what's called estuaries, which are river mouths, or right off the shore on the continental shelf, which is probably what the turtle I saw was doing. He was probably cruising along, eating. And their back, which you can kind of see in this picture, is reddish brown. Now, if you look at this loggerhead sea turtle, it appears like he has some barnacles or growths on his back, and that's very common in sea turtles to have growths on their back. Loggerhead turtles are the most common turtle in Florida. When they make a nest, they come up onto land and they dig a hole, and their nests contain 100 to 125 eggs. One turtle can nest 4 to 7 times per year every 2 years. Their eggs incubate for 60 days, and their hatchlings are 1.5 to 2 inches long. Now here's a green sea turtle. Any volunteers to read about green sea turtles? Come on, guys, I'd love to hear you talking too. Anyone want to read about green sea turtles? All right, well, green sea turtles got their name not from their shell or their carapace color like loggerhead sea turtles, but they got their name for their green body fat. The adults are a little larger than loggerhead sea turtles. They can be between 300 and 350 pounds. Their carapace is about the same size, about 3 feet long. Their main food is seagrass or seaweed. They mature in 20 to 50 years. They have a brown and olive brown carapace. And green sea turtles were hunted for soup. Down in the Caribbean, they were hunted almost to extinction. There would be farms, like there's fish farms or oyster farms now, where all they did was hunt sea turtles. They are nesting green sea turtles in Florida. They are federally listed as an endangered species. Now, if you look at this green sea turtle on the bottom, he has something growing from his neck. It's actually a virus. It's called the fibropapillomavirus. A lot of green sea turtles are infected with this virus. It is not normally a deadly virus. However, sometimes the turtles get infections from this, which can prove to be deadly. Their nests contain 110 to 115 eggs. Their eggs incubate for 60 days. And their hatchlings are about the same size, 1.5 inches to 2 inches long. Now this is the largest sea turtle. The leatherback turtle is the largest sea turtle. His back is covered with a leathery skin. He does not have a carapace that looks the same as a green or a loggerhead turtle. His back is covered with a leathery skin with 7 ridges running vertically down. Now, if you look at this sea turtle, he's up on the land, up on a beach, and the ridges are running vertically down his back. He is the largest sea turtle, or she. The adults, their carapace, can be 4 to 8 feet long. That's bigger than people. They can weigh 500 to 1,500 pounds. The main food of the leatherback sea turtle is jellyfish. They can dive to 3,000 feet, and they can regulate their body temperature. Now here's another picture of a leatherback sea turtle. There are a few leatherbacks that nest in Florida each year. And I'm going to skip through a couple of these here. Okay. Now we're going to talk about how sea turtles, those are the more common ones in the U.S. We're going to talk about how all sea turtles in general develop. Now, a young sea turtle hatches off of its beach, swims to the water, and then it gets carried out into the Gulf Stream. And then they kind of go missing. The young turtles get carried out into the Atlantic Ocean, and they just circle for 10 to 15 years. Young sea turtles are often found floating in mats of sargassum seaweed. They use the sargassum seaweed to help themselves hide and to help find food. And the scientists' best guess is that less than 1% of sea turtles that hatch survive their first year. And they believe that 1 in 10,000 actually reach maturity, which means they become an adult. So here's a picture of the currents and what's called the Sargasso Sea. So you see the United States on the left-hand side of this picture. You can see Florida at the bottom with the Gulf of Mexico. The currents in the Atlantic Ocean create this circular pattern with what's referred to as the Sargasso Sea in the middle. The sea turtles float around in this Sargasso Sea, and that is where they mature. Now, some threats to sea turtles. Well, there's lots of threats to sea turtles. When a sea turtle egg hatches, there are threats, but there's also threats before they hatch. Before a sea turtle even hatches, one of the main threats is raccoons. The raccoons like to dig up the sea turtles and eat the eggs. Another threat to sea turtles is storms. Once the sea turtles hatch, there are predators like ghost crabs, like the picture here, seabirds, seagulls, sharks, and fish that like to eat tiny hatchlings. And as adults, the predators of sea turtles are sharks and killer whales. Now, there are also human threats. Human threats to sea turtles are changes in the beaches, artificial lighting, beach driving as we crack the eggs. This poor little turtle here is stuck in fishing gear. Turtles get hit by boats and poaching. Now, there are some people trying to help sea turtles. There are lighting ordinances so people don't turn their lights on the beach. There are conservation plans. The picture here shows a turtle excluder device, which is a device that fishermen put on their new nets so the turtles do not get caught in their fishing nets. There are turtle patrols that look for turtle nets and move them if they need to be protected. And there's satellite tagging. Now let's take a look at how sea turtles become adults. So go ahead and flip over to your whiteboard for me. Now I'm going to draw a picture, and we're going to pretend that it looks gorgeous. Okay, I'm on the whiteboard. And up here I have the moon. And I'm going to label it because I know it doesn't really look like a moon. And then I'm going to draw the ocean. And then I'm going to have my beach, but my sand is going to be gray. So over here, I have my beach. And over here, I have my ocean. And this is what happens. When sea turtles mate, they always return to the same part of the ocean. They have something called homing fidelity, which means they will return to the same place where they were born or where they hatched. Now, sea turtles remember this based on their taste of the water and following currents. So here we have our little sea turtle, and I'm just going to draw a green circle because, as we already know, my pictures are not all that well. So here's my turtle. And she is returning to the same beach where she was born. What she does is at night, she climbs out onto the beach. So now she's up here. And she walks all the way up the dunes, climbs the dune, and she digs a hole with her hind flippers. The hole that sea turtles dig are very narrow and very deep. So it looks like this. And she digs it with her flippers. Then what the sea turtle does is she deposits her eggs into the nest. Her eggs are soft, about the size of a ping pong ball. And once they are in the bottom of the nest, they harden. So as they are falling in, they're kind of like a bouncy ball and bouncing off of each other. They're not perfect circles. Some have dents in them. And then the turtle develops inside this egg that hardens. The mommy sea turtle fills this all back in with sand. So now her hole up at the top in the dune has her eggs in it and is filled with sand. And then she returns to the water, never to be seen by those turtles again. About 60 days later, what happens is some of these eggs hatch and become turtles. They have a little beak at the front of their head that they can peck, almost like a bird would, out of their egg. And as a group, using their front flippers, they dig their way out of the nest. Now, they do this normally at night. So then what you have, I'm going to erase my mommy turtle here. And what she did, oh, and I erased my beach. There's my beach. So then what you have is you have all of these little baby sea turtles coming out of the hole. They come out at night, hopefully near high tide, and as they come out, so here they are, they look for light. They try to find a source of light, and they head towards that source of light. Before people lived along the beach, that source of light was the moon. So the sea turtles would make their way down the beach in a little line and dash to the water. Once they got in the water, they would continue swimming out and get caught in the currents. Unfortunately, now that there's houses along a lot of beaches, there's lights from people's houses. So sometimes the turtles get confused and head the wrong direction, and they head towards the street and end up getting hit by cars, getting eaten by people's pets, or raccoons, or birds. So, cut it out. One of the things that sea turtle conservation agencies are doing is asking people to either turn their lights off during sea turtle nesting season or put shades on their lights so that they do not shine out towards the ocean. Go ahead and give me a smiley face if this makes sense to you, or a frowny face if you have no idea what I'm talking about.